Hi, I'm Leticia Clemente. I work for the city government of Baguio City as the city budget officer, and I joined the blended learning course on human rights-based approaches in 2019. And my course study it was focused on children and women. A human rights based approach in local government should be a way of life. As I went through the experience of integrating it in some of the programs of the city, I have seen the difference of having to apply it or not. I realized for the first time how we have underestimated the purpose of stakeholders' participation in the planning and budgeting process. We thought that we are doing enough, yet so deficient in many ways. When people are engaged the proper way and with human rights based perspective, programs are more responsive to address the respective needs. While participation is ingrained in local governance, the process of engagement should take the human rights based approach. Sometimes we in local governments have a different perspective of what consultation and dialogue is all about. But learning the human rights based approach will provide a sufficient and appropriate basis for program development. So there is a huge difference when programs are based on just a perceived need without statistics, analysis, and appropriate approaches. So human rights based approach should satisfy the mission of local government to deliver services to the people with a heart. Well, human rights based approach should find its way right at the core of the planning process. It is important too for program implementers and frontliners to be capacitated, and there should be a buy-in, or buy-in is very vital from top officials down to the rank and file. It, if this is done, mainstreaming of human rights perspective in local governance is easier. So as a precursor to mainstreaming, statistics and data analytics on human rights related parameters are a must. This will provide a more or less accurate and reasonable basis for program development during the planning stage. So it should be remembered that human rights perspective cut across all programs. In my mini project on abandoned children and women, I underwent this process. First is data gathering from national agencies and city offices, including the barangays. At the same time, there is a need to verify and validate the data gathered. We also set meetings with stakeholders, the different departments, barangay officials, national agencies, and non-government institutions. And we reviewed and assessed the effectiveness and responsiveness of our existing plans. In the case of abandoned children, the city has no program for them as this is left with the private sector. So the gap was revealed. As both our plans have already been approved, suggestions were taken note of and will be incorporated in the amendments of the 2021 plans. And the full implementation is expected to be in 2022. So after having assessed the existing plans, the city will accordingly amend these plans to conform with the updated Gender Equality and Development Code in the case of women. There were a lot of areas to be improved in the existing plans, and the city plans to call for more participatory focus group discussions and planning workshops to determine the appropriateness of existing plans. But again, the role of CSOs is also critical. Local government should encourage the participation of CSOs and let their voices be heard. And the art of listening entails action on the part of the local government by way of adopting their proposals wherever it's possible in the program development. And we should make it easy for CSOs and other informal groups to take part in the planning activities. I work as the city budget officer of the city government, and I work closely with the planning office in seeing to it that the development plans of the city are operationalized through the budget. So the goal is to harmonize the plans anchored on the attainment of the SDGs with the budget of the different departments. So being able to take part in the blended learning course on human rights was a great chance and opportunity for me to adapt those learnings to what I do and even beyond that, since my role as budget officer is critical in the implementation of the city's programs. As I went through the process of applying rights-based approaches in my mini projects, I made significant accomplishments for both orphaned and vulnerable children and gender and development plan. um, uh, we were able to establish a validated database of orphaned and vulnerable children, which is now being used as basis in the formulation of programs and activities for the said sector. We organized a small group called the Orphaned and Vulnerable Children that is now serving as core group to steer and recommend policies to the local council for the protection of children. And we were able to forge an agreement with private institutions for better coordination and program harmonization, including sharing of resources. For gender and development, on the other hand, we were able to facilitate the updating and approval of the Gender Equality and Development Code. We engaged stakeholders in the planning sessions. We identified capacity development programs that are more responsive to the needs of the vulnerable groups. We created awareness on the need for human rights-based approach to planning and implementation of programs. With this, the synchronized planning, programming, budgeting system is strengthened. So together with our planning department, we were able to adopt a framework for human rights-based approaches that piloted with my mini project, Abandoned Children and Women. So the budget requirements were integrated in the annual budget of the city. We also have established a framework for monitoring and evaluation of the program, with the CSOs joining us in the process. This is now being tested and will form part of the evaluation this year end. So as a budget officer, I am also a steward of public monies, and I have the responsibility to see that these monies are spent in accordance to plans and benefits the public that we serve. So by using the human rights based approach in program development and implementation, the people will stand to benefit.
On behalf of the city government of Baguio, I would like to thank RWI for a very laudable course that will benefit all local government units. And I vow to popularize this to Baguio City and also to other LGUs who might be interested. I will encourage them to participate in the program because it will benefit the people that that the LGUs will serve. Thank you.